This starts way back when I watched the 2001 Mexican movie, Tu Mamá También. And this is a beautiful road trip movie that deals with three characters, two guys and a woman, in search for a hidden beach. Now, if you haven't seen this film, you should, because I'm about to talk about it. So there's a scene that happens at the end of the film. So all these characters are about to make love with each other, but the guys, which have been super macho-like bro types throughout the entire movie, start making out. It was a jaw-dropping moment for me. It made you reevaluate everything that came before it. It was a brilliant twist. It's one of the many reasons I love this movie, and why it has so much staying power in my mind, because of the ambiguity of that scene. What did it mean? There is no definite answer, and that's why I firmly believe directors shouldn't talk about their movies. I think about another film from 2001, Donnie Darko, which I still think the theatrical cut is the best cut, because a lot of it was left out, allowing the audience to fill in the holes themselves, whereas the Donnie Darko director's cut explains way too much. Another example was Darren Aronofsky's Mother, which really perplexed me when I first saw it, but when I heard afterwards in an interview Darren saying that it was intended as a religious parable, it sort of deflated the entire movie for me. It put it in a box. So as a filmmaker myself, I know that there's a fear of having your work be misinterpreted or taken the wrong way, but also the other side of it is not saying anything about your work where you could come off as pretentious. And pretentious is a word that I absolutely despise, because a lot of critics and people use that as a shield to not actually engage in a deeper conversation. Now, I'm not saying directors can't talk about their movies, like what made them want to make it, their inspirations behind it. I think the danger lies in engaging directly in the story beats or scenes and explaining away its meaning. The most ambiguous movie of all time is probably 2001: A Space Odyssey. Stanley Kubrick, the director, was a longtime believer that the artist shouldn't explain the work. He is quoted saying, "How could we possibly appreciate the Mona Lisa if Leonardo had written at the bottom of the canvas, 'The lady is smiling because she's hiding a secret from her lover'?" Which is why what really surprised me is recently a video surfaced online that showed Kubrick discussing the story beats of 2001 over the phone. And while it doesn't take away my appreciation of the film, it's almost better if we didn't know Kubrick's thoughts on it at all. I feel like in life there's two camps of people. People who want definitive answers on things, and people who are okay with ambiguity. You know, I feel like a lot of the Christopher Nolan fans have endless theories on his films, like Inception on whether the top ever fell or not. They're constantly digging for answers that they feel like are somewhere in the movie if they just keep watching it. But I love when movies are ambiguous, and it allows for a lot of discussions to be had. You know, countless forums online start dissecting it, videos pop up. You're ending up at a film festival and people are talking about it, and then you find out what the film meant to them. And what's great about it is that nobody has the right answer, and everybody can take away something personal from it. And I think this ultimately digs at the deeper question of not knowing why we're here. We don't have a definite answer about that. In fact, we may never. And some people are okay with not knowing, and other people turn to religion or other means to feel secure and complete. And that's okay. And to quote Kubrick again, he once said, "The most terrifying fact about the universe is not that it is hostile, but that it is indifferent. But if we can come to terms with this indifference, then our existence as a species can have genuine meaning. However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light." So there's no right way or wrong way to interpret a movie. I just don't appreciate when the director, who's probably the last person to come out and give definitive answers on the work, just sort of silences the discussion and says, "No, this is the right answer." One of the best filmmakers who almost never talk directly about the meaning of their work is David Lynch, whose films are filled with ambiguity and mystery, particularly what I think is his best movie, Mulholland Drive. Every time I revisit this film, I find something new. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that you feel like you can figure out if you can just find a couple missing pieces. I think the best way to sum up my thoughts on this whole issue is this clip, an interview that David Lynch had with film critic Mark Kermode, when Kermode was asking him about the meaning and connections in his movies.
I know you hate saying what things mean in your films, but am I right in thinking that that's at least in the right area?
No.